What up, 12s? It's Norb-Cam here again. And I guess I should also welcome those non-12s out there, because I know there's going to be a lot of Cowboys fans piling in here to see what I might have to say about this game. Let me just start by saying Dallas sucks. Just kidding. No, you guys got us. You know, what can you say, you know? I mean, when you get beat as badly as we did, there's not much to say. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm man enough to say, hey, you whooped us, man. You know? Fair and square. Even the score doesn't even tell the whole story for sure. And gotta call a spade. All right? Congrats, Cowboys. You did a good job yesterday. Can't say much about it. I always love when, you know, a game ends and a team gets thumped, and then you get fans of the team who just lost, and they're still, you know, heckling the other fans. Yo, you guys suck. It's like, shut up, dude. It's like, don't embarrass yourself, all right? This game already had, you know, already told the story. You're just digging yourself deeper, looking like a fool. Start talking like that. Anyway, so, you know, yesterday was a bad day. I was all bummed out, like most of Seahawks Nation was. And I thought I could come on here and just be all miserable and sad, but you know what? I'm not going to do it because everybody else is busy doing it, so I'm just going to have a little bit lighter approach to it, you know? Heck with it, you know? We're moving on. I'm going to look back at this game and laugh at the absurdity of how bad it was. All right? Well, let's kind of break this down a little bit. All right. First of all, like I said, the score, you know, we lost by a touchdown on the score, on the final score, but in reality, you know, if not for the block punt, the 2 fumbles, it could have easily been a 3-score deficit or more. Man, it was that bad. So, props to Dallas. You guys came in. You guys were prepared. You guys had a good game plan. You guys were flying to the ball. I think me, myself included, everybody and myself included, kind of overlooked the defense, assumed that Dallas would just not be able to hold their own, that they'd be the Dallas defense we're been used to seeing for a while. And you guys played us tough. I mean, you guys were shutting down. They weren't giving us the edge, didn't give Wilson anywhere to run. You guys were covering our receivers tight. And winning the battle at the line of scrimmage. You know, your offensive line was rolling downhill. And we didn't have a whole lot of answers. So, you know, I think that running game you guys have, I mean, congrats to Murray for, was that 6 games in a row now for 100 yards or more? Granted, he didn't get his 100 yards to the very last 4 minutes of the game, which I'll get into later. But he did get it. And so, yeah, that run game is good. Hate to say, it was good though. But where do I start? So many things to break down here, but I said this in this other video before the whole season started, right before the Packer game, right here. This video, I talked about how I said there were 2 things that we would need to do in order to have a chance at repeating this year. And I said it came down to 3rd down efficiency, both sides of the ball, and red zone scoring. And this was just another example of a game where we were horrible at that. Dallas, we were only 5 of 13 on the 3rd down, which is below 50%, and Dallas was 10 of 17, well over 50%. So right there, that alone tells the story, which leads into the time of possession, where Dallas practically had double the possession as we did. I think 22 minutes is all we had the ball for, and Dallas had it for 37 plus minutes. This game felt like a morph of the Arizona loss at home last year, plus the San Diego game. I mean, it was eerily familiar from a time of possession, from the plays that Dallas was able to convert third downs on. You guys, they were doing that play, checking down to the running back and just killing us. I don't know how, I counted at least 4 or 5 third down conversions that Dallas made, where they just they'd kind of do a delayed release by the running back into the flat or in the middle, and he'd be wide open and just easy first down conversion. It was killing us. And we never adjusted to that. Never figured out how to stop that. And I kept saying, why doesn't Seattle do that? Instead, we got empty backfield, 4 receivers out there, no one getting open, and he's got no hot read, no safety outlet pass to go to in case the guys don't get open, and we were not getting open. So I'm just peeking over here watching this Rams 49er game. 49ers were getting beat pretty bad, but they just scored a touchdown. Now it's 14-10. Wild. Anyway, we had no answer for that. So it felt to me, just looking at this game, that Dallas did their homework. They had figured out what plays had been working against everyone else we had played against, pretty much. And they didn't give any of that up. Percy had 6 touches for, I think, 0 or negative yardage. So I never thought in a million years that would happen. Beast Mode only carried the ball 10 times the whole game, and only I think twice in the first half, which is perplexing. Especially after his first opening play of the game, he got 5 yards. Why they didn't keep going back to that, I have no idea. But we had a good first drive, and we took it and got down to the red zone, about 12-yard line or something like that, and then kind of stalled, and then got the field goal and field goal block, and then or punt block, and after that we didn't do anything for the rest of the half, pretty much. So it was pretty miserable watching what was going on. But receivers, tight ends too, for that matter. A lot more drops today. Just seemed like balls in the hand, and so many times it just seemed to, even the Washington Redskin game, same thing. A lot of balls that were in our hands, it just couldn't haul it in. And we had at least three plays like that. A couple to Curse, Luke Wilson. If they haul one of those catches in, it changes, the end result of that game. So, just drops they don't normally make, but it just seems to be a little bit of a trend lately. In the line of scrimmage, we pass protection seemed like Wilson was under duress a lot, and even when he did have time, it's like nobody's open. I mean, there's nobody. Throw it away or have to try to run for it, and I don't get it. But I mean, even when we did run the ball, I mean, it was tough sledding. I mean, Lynch was getting stuffed there too, so we just needed to keep working it, keep pounding it, But and of course the penalties. Now, I said before, I'm not going to make excuses, blame the refs for the games. I just don't believe in that. So I'm not going to go harp on that. But all I want to see is consistent calls. If they're going to call it tight and a lot of holdings, a lot of interference, illegal contact, just make sure it's even on both sides, all right? There was a couple blatant calls that were phantom calls. Threw me back to the Super Bowl of 2005, 2006. But that tripping call of Sherman tackling Des Bryant, I don't know what that was, but it was funny because from my view, I had a bad view, and I was looking at it from here, and Sherman was here tackling Bryant this way. From here, it looked like his feet tangled him up, and I actually thought he tripped him. Then they showed the side replay, and I was like, he just tackled him with his hand. So I don't know, penalties like that are just completely like, come on. We can always discuss, pass interference, holding, non-holding, but something like that, it's like, and then in the red zone, I mean, it just gets them that much closer, which eventually I think, I can't remember if that was actually might have been held to a field goal, but bottom line is just a horrible call. And that other one I didn't get, there was a defender was in the neutral zone, but we got a false start because our guy got out of his stance. It's like, if the guy's in the neutral zone, isn't he in the neutral zone? Isn't that an infraction at that point? But I'm not going to blame that. That's not why we lost. So I have to get that out though. I just want consistency in the calls, and then the other thing I guess, this is not an excuse, but it is something you have to consider when you look at the game and you go, yeah, we got beat, and then you have to start breaking it. Then you break it down and see why. How did we get beat? Why were these things happening? Well, first of all, the injury bug has started to bite us pretty bad. Going into the game, we were already out. Our starting tight end, Zach Miller, our starting center, Max Unger, was out. So those are two, one of a Pro Bowl center, heart of the line. So they were out. Jeremy Lane, our cover corner, has been out for a while. Cam Chancellor, he played, but I know he's been dealing with that hip issue, and you could tell. I was watching. It was like Cam Chancellor was playing like half the ferocity that he usually does, and he just was not hitting people like we've seen in the past, and it made a difference, So it was hard watching him out there. Just he was still getting in on and helping out on tackles, but he just wasn't that extra bam bam that we're used to seeing. So I hope he can get that worked out, but I think it's the same hip he got his surgery on, so that's concerning, because I believe that without Cam Chancellor, a healthy Cam Chancellor in there, that completely lessens the power of the Legion of Boom. He puts the boom in the Legion of Boom. So then of course Byron Maxwell went out with it looked to be a high ankle sprain, but apparently it's just a strained calf. But I don't know what his situation is. So we really are down to like half of the Legion, maybe 2/3 if you look at it that way. So so he was out. Then Bobby Wagner went out of the game for a while with a toe injury. So I'm not. He came back in, but he was out for a while there. Looked like a preseason game, with all these. I was like, what's Brock Coyle and Mike Morgan doing in there, linebacker? What the heck is Wagner at? Because in the stadium they don't tell you what's happening. You don't know the insights of all the injuries and stuff. But I knew something was up because it's not our regular team. So, not to make excuses, but it is a factor. It is a factor in what happened and what will happen possibly this weekend. So they're gonna have to. We got an uphill battle, guys, against St. Louis this weekend, and I will be at that game, by the way. I'm going to be flying out to St. Louis, first ever game, Hawks game in St. Louis in the Edward Jones Dome or whatever they call that thing. So I'm excited about that. I'm hoping we have a good game in store there, but I'll be making noise best I can in there with the other 12s in St. Louis, so that's going to be a blast. But continuing down my list of things, the tackling. Now, DeMarco Murray is a great runner. I mean, I can see why he's been so good at getting these, the 100 yards. He's great for yards after contact. Very, very shifty guy. Very, 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 very quick and elusive. And I don't know how much it was him or just we not tackling good, but our tackling left something to be desired. A lot of missed tackles, a lot of plays where we had him stuffed the line of scrimmage or negative yardage and he'd pop out for 3 or 4. But yeah, I mean, I saw Earl Thomas, who's usually really solid, making some, getting some missed tackles in there and just hitting guys too high and letting them, slip out. So that was not good. And then blocking just by kind of everybody. The line, especially, we were seeing problems there. Even the receivers on those those screen passes. Those screen passes only work if the receivers do their job and block the men in front of them. If they don't do that, he's dead to rights, and that happened. Again, credit to Dallas for playing it well, but on every play that you draw up, if everybody does their job, there should be positive yardage out of it. And to have Percy Harvin getting negative yards, I mean, somebody's not pulling their weight, you know what I mean? So, so that's that. And then Russell Wilson, worst game of his career since game 7 of his rookie career in 2012. So he was definitely off, and he admitted so. And he just seemed like he couldn't find guys. He didn't get help from them catching passes that were definitely catchable. I mean, that would have changed things. I think it would have gotten things into a rhythm. But it was just, he just, couldn't run, couldn't, hit the guys. And then he had, like the San Diego game, he had 2 chances for comeback drives to try to win or tie the game. And, oh gosh, they're showing the highlights of the Seattle-Dallas game right now. It was just ugly. I mean, it's just so weird how in less than a week's time, you can go from being NFC Player of the Week in a Monday night performance that is just historic, and then have a game like this. It's like 2 different guys, completely different. And, maybe, who knows, maybe there's something else going on, but Seattle had the Monday night game. They didn't fly back till Tuesday, so they really didn't get back into it till Wednesday. So short week. I don't know. Maybe they didn't really have enough time to prepare. Maybe they just didn't put in the time. Didn't game plan well enough, because it seemed like we just didn't have. Besides execution, it felt like the game plan wasn't very good either. We didn't have very good adjustments to counter what was happening. So, not much else to say. I mean, special teams were great. Like I said, they kept us in the game. The block punt, recovered the fumble, and then, really, 12th man, we were the ones who caused that other fumble. A complete communication, breakdown where center snapped it into Romo's leg, and then we got the ball. So if not for those gifts, we'd be really, really bad. So, on the flip side, and I think this is what makes that game that much more frustrating, was that despite how horribly we played in the first half, we were only down by 7, and then we ended up actually making some adjustments, because we kind of started to contain Murray a little bit more, the running in general in the third quarter. It wasn't as bad. And then we were able to come back and tie the game, and then take the lead by 3, late into the fourth quarter. So it's like we were given a gift, from the football gods, saying, look, you guys played like crap for 3 quarters, but guess what? We're going to start the game fresh, 0-0, 1 quarter, to see if you can pull this thing off. And what happened? We took the lead, 3 points. And again, going back to that red zone point I made in the other video, horrible on third down, but again, we had lots of red zone opportunity. I say lots, but we had a couple of red zone opportunities where we had to settle for field goals. Opening drive, had to settle for a field goal, and then on one of the fumbles, I think the Romo fumble, we had to settle for a field goal on that one as well. Again, you make 1 touchdown instead, and it changes the complexion of the end of the game. But anyway, so we're given this blank slate to essentially sort of wipe all the nastiness of the first 3 quarters and just win the fourth quarter. It's not how you start, how you finish, right? And we had a chance to finish that game. We were up by 3, and as you guys have all seen on the highlights and everything, play the game 3rd and 20 with 4 something left in the game, and Romo does a deja vu of the game against the Texans where J.J. Watt almost sacks him. He spins out of it, somehow finds his receiver 21 yards down the field, throws a perfect strike just at the sideline for him to tiptoe, catch that ball, and you know the rest. The defense pretty much folded after that, let Murray get the rest of his yards, and then score the touchdown, and we never recovered. So, yet we were still winning all the way up to the point that they scored. Yet it just seemed like it was such a deflating moment that we psychologically, you know, had kind of given up. It felt like. So yeah, that's, you know, if Irvin gets the sack on Romo, we're probably talking about this game being, you know, an amazing show of resilience and toughness by the Seahawks and adjustments at half and finishing the game and, you know, and all that good stuff. But we didn't, and so we don't get to talk about that. It's amazing. One play, one sack that could have been, one inches away from that being incomplete, or going earlier back, Byron Maxwell had a pick six at the goal line on Dallas's first touchdown. Do you remember that? Threw to the receiver on the left side, and that ball he actually threw on the back shoulder, and Maxwell was at the back shoulder side, took that ball, and it was right there. All he had to do was hold on to it, and he'd be gone. And it would have been 17-0. Instead, it became 10-7 because they scored, I think, right after that. That would have, I think, he'd gotten that, it would have been game over. I don't think Dallas would have gotten back into the game. But that's football, man. In a game like this, I said it, against the Redskins, we were able to play sloppy, have 3 touchdowns called back, and still win the game. I said, you know, the next time we play a good team, it's going to come down to 1 or 2 plays, and if you blow it with a penalty, you blow it with a failed conversion or, you know, missed assignment, then that's the result you're going to get. So, yeah, just no good. But, yeah, so that's pretty much it. You know, the good, I guess, to look at the bright side, you know, it's only for us game 5. Okay, we have 11 games left, and it's a long season. We got a lot of football to play yet, and you know, for you Dallas fans who are riding high right now, yeah, you look really good. But you are going to lose a game here somewhere, and it's probably going to be against a team you don't expect to lose to. Okay, and it'll shock you and everybody, and while you're riding high on the horse, that's the time when something's going to sneak up and bite you in the butt. It's just kind of what happens. That's football these days. And but I'm losing. I have just as much faith as I did before in this team. The thing about what I believe about the Seahawks is that they are a talented team. They are better than what we saw on Sunday. Okay, we just saw like the worst version, like the worst things all happening in the same game. But that's not them. You know, these are things that they can improve on. They have the talent. They've got the resources to adjust. Now, again, injuries, you cannot change those with 1 week's time. You can't just game plan and game fix an injury. That's not how it's gonna. That's one thing you cannot control. And there will be a drop off. Next man up sounds really good, but you know the reality is you don't just get the same guy. You don't get the carbon copy of a Bobby Wagner, you know, the team leader in tackles. A guy like that doesn't just come out and you next man up and it's exactly the same result. It's not going to be the case. So, you know, we're going to have to deal with it. Every team does. Every team has their issues, their challenges that they've got to overcome. And it's just going to be a little rougher than it was last year. We didn't have to deal with this so bad last year. We were fortunate last year. But this year, uphill battle. So all that means is they've got to come out and do some things better. They've got to execute better. They got to block better. It just comes down to basics, right? Football is about running, passing, kicking, tackling. blocking. I mean, it's those basic foundation things about the game, and when you don't do those things at the core basic level, everything else, like, you can drop the best play in the world, but if one or two guys don't get their assignments done, the whole thing falls apart. So anyway, but they've got to find a way to get beast mode the ball. There's no excuse for that. Beast mode's got to get the ball. I think they got to change up some things in their formations. This 4 wide receiver empty backfield set does not seem to be working. And if they take a page out of their opponents who have beaten them, look at San Diego, look at Dallas. You know, that play where the running back just sneaks out of there and is the escape route when things, you know, break downfield was working pretty good. I kept saying, why don't we do that? They're slaying us with that. Why don't we do the same thing? So, you know, they should do it. So, anyway, so they got to go back to the drawing board, try some new things, you know. Heck, I love seeing Percy Harvin on these side screens and the fly sweeps and all that, but teams are getting ready for that. They need to. Why not send him downfield? You know, he's fast. Why not? You know, I just can't believe we're having this pedestrian receiver type of talk again. I thought we got out past all that last year, and can't believe we're having that sort of thing to deal with again. So, anyway. Now we'll see how it goes next week. You know, St. Louis looking pretty tough. You know, but it's all about this game. It's all about adjustments and matchups. You know, so we've got to get our people in the right place and execute. That's all it comes down to. Oh, by the way, another injury to mention is in the Bronco game, our left tackle Russell Okung has been playing with a torn labrum. So I guess, you know, maybe that's why his performance hasn't been as good. Maybe that's why he's been holding more and getting beat. I don't know if that, you know, don't really know exactly how that ties, you know, into his performance. I can't imagine. I've never torn a labrum before, so I have no idea what that feels like. I'm sure it hurts like hell. But it's a reality that they have to deal with. You know, so, yep, we're walking wounded right now, but we still got the talent to overcome that. So Seattle's got to come into Dallas, come into St. Louis this weekend, and turn this thing around. All right, and we keep talking about these losses like these are learning opportunities. You know, we need to have a wake-up call. Well, we've had 2 wake-up calls in 5 games. You know, we can't afford too many more wake-up calls, all right? Maybe the first wake-up call in San Diego didn't really, the call didn't really go through because maybe there was too much thinking, well, the weather was the issue, you know. Maybe that's why they really lost. Maybe that's what they believed, you know, but obviously there was no excuses for being at home. Weather was not a factor, crowd on their side, and to play that poorly was just too many bad elements coming together at the worst possible time. So, anyway, again, congrats to Dallas. You guys played your butts off and kicked ours around. No getting around that, but watch your back, because, you know, enjoy it while it lasts, because it never does. And like I said, someone's going to get you. It may not be us unless we face you in the playoffs or something, but, you know, watch out, because it's coming. It's going to come. All right. Not much more to say. I still love the Hawks. You know, it's kind of like your family, right? There are times when your family drives you crazy, but they're still your family, and you gotta stick with them through thick and thin. Don't bail unless you're a bandwagoner. I know there are a lot of you out there, but for you true 12s out there, this is one game. One bad game. One bad game's not gonna shake my faith. So, we're in this to the end. I will be there in St. Louis screaming, Norb-Camming it over there, and you know, I expect to see a win next week. If these guys aren't motivated and they're not on fire, ready to unleash, I don't know what will get them to. So I expect that. All right. I guess that's it. Special thanks again. Shout out Northwest Motorsport, home of trucks, and more trucks. All right. Norb-Cam of this game. Painful as it will be to put it together, it's actually a lot of fun. A lot of cool stuff that happened in that video. So I will be putting it together. I will post it before I leave for St. Louis, hopefully in the next couple days, so you can watch it again, even for you Cowboy fans out there. You relish in your victory. But that's fine. Just watch it here, all right? Subscribe to my channel. I welcome fans from any team. Come join the fun. All right, subscribe, like the video, send me comments. I appreciate all that. So, yeah, let's do this thing. Thanks for watching. Go Hawks.
Thank you for watching Norb-Cam. Please subscribe to my channel by clicking the button at the top. To watch the Seahawks-Redskins game where Russell Wilson had a historic Monday Night Football performance, click the video on the left. To watch this agonizingly painful Dallas game with a lot of really cool pregame Norb-Cam stuff, click the video in the middle. To watch Rivals Episode 2 where I battled this 80s Broncos fan named Mike, click the video on the right. Thanks for watching. Go Hawks!